Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Sara Lubratt. Today's writing vlog is a long one. Today's vlog is so long because I was working on draft 4, still living in an empty apartment, having my stuff finally show up, unpacking, exploring Utah, and going to see some sunsets and sunrises, talking about why I moved, which is a question that I've been getting a lot, and starting to try and find a new routine in all of this chaos that's been happening. That all being said, there will be timestamps in this video, so if you just want to scroll along the bottom and skip around, you are totally welcome to. If you want to watch the whole thing, I would appreciate that. But that being said, if you guys go on to enjoy this video, I would really appreciate it if you could give it a big thumbs up because it really supports my channel. And now, because this video doesn't need to be any longer, let's get into it. Hello and good morning. Today is June 10th and I got off of work at about 12 o'clock today, and so then I went and got breakfast at noon, and while I was eating breakfast I brought my computer and I started working on rereading the last couple of chapters that I have written in draft 4 to just kind of iron them out, fix any smaller things that might have slipped through my fingers the first time I wrote them into draft 4, and kind of just like remind myself of where like the characters' heads are at and everything going into writing today and over the next couple of days. I started draft 4 almost an entire month ago. Today is June 10th. I started on May 15th, so like 26 days ago, and I am only 11,000 words into draft 4 so far, which is definitely not the pace that I wanted to be doing this at. So in order to finish by the end of July, I need to get back to doing about 2,000 words a day. So while I was at breakfast, I managed to do about 100 words, but again, that was like adding things into what I had already written and kind of just like rereading and catching up to where I am moving forward now. And so I feel like that put me in a good spot for the rest of the day and the next upcoming days. However, because I am now on my weekend, I am gonna go adventure and explore Utah a little bit. I'm about to drive an hour and a half outside of Salt Lake City to the Salt Flats and just like have some fun, explore a little, and then probably come back and write some more this evening. And we have made it to the Salt Flats. This is so cool. Like, what? I just found out that I am currently about 13 minutes away from Nevada, and so I think we might as well also go to Nevada today, just like cross over and then go back. But first I just want to drive around these Salt Flats. Other than the wind, which is absolutely howling, it is so freaking peaceful out here. All right, I got myself some snacks for like the 2-hour drive home, but right now I'm gonna head to Nevada just to say that I did it. I was just thinking to myself, I hadn't seen a welcome sign yet. That might be all I get. I am barely in Nevada right now, but I'm gonna turn around because it doesn't look like there's gonna be another exit for a while. So we're gonna head back to Salt Lake now. All right, well, at least there's a welcome to Utah sign going back in. And we're getting back. All right, it is now 7:30. I'm just getting back. My trip today ended up being about 5 or 5.5 hours. I had a really fun time though. That was totally worth it. And the drive back felt so much shorter than the drive out there. But now I'm gonna pick up some dinner close to my apartment and then take it back home. I also finished the audiobook that I was listening to, which is kind of like a really fun coincidence that I finished that as I was pulling into where I was getting dinner from. So at least that is one book down for June. It is currently 2:30 in the morning. There's a massive fire that just started about a block away from my apartment that I'm kind of freaked out about. So I'm just gonna watch it. Just packed a really quick bag. It just got bigger, but it also looks like that tower thingy is now spraying water on it, supposedly. I wish I could see more right now because there is so much smoke that's billowing up, but right where like the cutoff is on the screen is where like the edge of my balcony is, so I can't see beyond that, but it looks like there is a lot of fire and a lot of smoke. The fire raged from like 2:30 in the morning to like almost 4:30 in the morning. It took them a very long time to put it out, and I stayed up watching it because I didn't want to leave, but it also wasn't getting closer, so I didn't think that I needed to, but I needed to stay up just in case it did. It was a lot, but they got it handled. So today is June 14th. I have now been sleeping on an air mattress with no furniture in my apartment for exactly 2 weeks. Let me tell you, it's not ideal. I think the lack of routine has been by far the worst part, but thankfully I got a call this evening that my stuff will be showing up tomorrow, which is June 15th, but like, wow, I really want my furniture. Just so that I can start having like some semblance of a routine. It's just been really weird and kind of jarring to not have one in a new city. So I know that I'll include that in a future video for sure, like trying to set up my new routine in Salt Lake. However, because I don't have furniture, I have been able to spend a lot of time out of my apartment, and I've seen a lot of sunsets. I even saw sunrise. I ventured out to the Salt Flats. I drove over to Nevada. I drove over to Wyoming. Didn't see anything like interesting in Nevada or Wyoming. That was more to like say I did it and then I can like go back later and do more interesting things, but I'm finally getting my stuff tomorrow. On the morning of June 15th, I cleaned up my apartment, which wasn't saying much because I didn't have that much stuff actually in my apartment, but I had to basically put away the air mattress, just make sure that everything that I brought up from my car that had been in my car was put into my closet so that it was not in the way for when the movers showed up. I just finished cleaning up everything that was out, like the air mattress and like the pillows that I was sitting on. So my things were supposed to be delivered on June 15th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Putting it nicely, that did not happen. I did not film during that time. I didn't film again until the evening, which we're gonna see in just a second. But I had like a full-blown panic attack because I thought I was never gonna get my stuff, because when I paid this company originally, they told me that they could get my stuff to me on June 1st. And then I don't think my stuff actually left Texas until like June 9th. And then my stuff was supposedly supposed to arrive between June 9th and June 13th. And then we got through that and I still hadn't gotten an update. And then it was supposed to arrive on the 15th. And then this happened. Okay, so it is still June 15th. It is currently 9:20 p.m. I got 2 hours into my 4-hour moving window today, and then I called the movers for like an updated ETA. And then when I asked the guy that picked up, he was like, oh, we moved you to tomorrow. And I was like, doesn't that seem like information that I, as the person who needs to be in this apartment to receive the stuff, isn't that something that I should know? So apparently it's getting here at 7 a.m. tomorrow. I just would really like to have all of this stuff because I've now been sleeping on an air mattress for 15 days and tomorrow will be 16 days. And I would just really like to have a couch. I just want to sit on something that's not one of the like 3 pillows that I had in my car. I think that overall I've been taking this pretty well. I've been taking most of this pretty lightheartedly, but at this point I just am over it. Today's moving day. My stuff is here. I did have to go to the ATM to go get more money, but now we're back, so hopefully stuff can actually be brought up to my place. I think most everything has made it. Now I'm just kind of waiting to see what happened to one of my mirrors because they're claiming it's not on the truck. Now I just have to sit down and do some work to this lovely view. Just went out and grabbed myself some lunch and a coffee. I feel like this is going to become very handy for unpacking all of this. Okay guys, why does the Walmart parking lot have such a good view? I've already started unpacking a little bit, but here's kind of what I'm working with right now. I'm just sitting here realizing that today is June 19th, meaning that I started draft 4 a month and 4 days ago, and I still have not passed 12,000 words yet. Okay, you know what, that's fine. It's okay. I know that moving has been a lot. I know that not having my furniture has been a whole freaking lot. I know that having to get my car repaired because of how it was damaged when shipping it was a lot. Thankfully though, now most of my stuff minus one item has arrived. My car is back from the shop. Like everything is hopefully coming together. I'm trying to set up more of a routine now, even though I've only had my stuff for like 3 or 4 days. I'm hoping to finish unpacking tomorrow, and then I can get back into this and hopefully make some real progress. So that's the update. Still sitting at less than 12,000 words, a month and 4 days into draft 4. I'm very much just trying to remind myself that progress is progress and it's important to be nice to yourself. So if you are also in need of that message right now, I extend that to you. All right, I just set up my very temporary writing space. It's gonna look a lot nicer. I'm not sure where I want it situated here or if I want it in a different place in my apartment. Okay, it's now 2:30. I just spent the last like hour and a half filming some reels/shorts because I'm gonna try out YouTube Shorts, I think. And I had so much fun with making them, but now it's 2:30 and so I actually need to like get started on writing for the day. Today is June 21st. Through the end of June is 10 more days, including today, and then July is 31 days. So I have roughly 41 days that I would like to finish draft 4 in. I'm very well aware that finding a routine is going to be very difficult. Settling into a routine is going to be really hard. Getting back into writing is going to be difficult, especially so aggressively, but the ideal goal, the perfect world goal, would be to finish draft 4 by the end of July, which means 41 days from now. So if we consider that draft 3 ended at about 120,000 words and I started today at about 12,000 after over a month of working on this, after starting draft 4, I suppose, that puts me at about 108,000 more words that I would like to do in the next 41 days. So if I take that 108,000 words divided by 41, I need to rewrite, edit, move over, whatever you want to call it, and whatever I guess it will be on whichever day, 2,634 words a day, which actually seems kind of doable. That actually seems very doable. Aggressive, please don't get me wrong, that is still very aggressive, but there will be some days where I can just move stuff over. There will be some days where I have to completely rewrite or gut or add or whatever and do massive overhauls on scenes, but hopefully that should even out pretty decently. I'm currently sitting at just over 1,000 words today, which means I need to do about 1,500 more today to hit today's goal of 2,634 words every day for the next 41 days. All right, cool. At least that is more tangible than I thought it was gonna be, and so let's get back into this. Right there. So I came up from down that way, parked somewhere down there. That's where I'm going. And this is the sunset. I'm now back from watching the sunset. I've been trying to do that as much as possible. Every single sunset that I've seen has been absolutely gorgeous. But now that I'm back, it's almost like 11 p.m. I did spend a while sitting in my car, which is why it's so late now, but I'm about to start another writing sprint. I'm gonna try and do like 3,000 words today to make up for a little bit of what I didn't do yesterday. Okay, so today on June 22nd, I ended up doing 3 writing sprints that totaled an hour and 10 minutes, and I rewrote / moved over / revised / edited, you know the drill at this point, 2,672 words in just over an hour. I am so incredibly impressed with that. That also means that I'm now sitting at 16,012 words in draft 4. I am feeling very good about this so far. It's feeling good getting back into it. It has kind of been like pulling teeth, trying to get myself to sit down and focus on writing sprints today and yesterday, but I think the words are starting to flow again. I think that I just need to keep sitting down, keep working on this, and it will slowly but surely keep coming back to me like riding a bike. I accidentally had some wine tonight, and by accidentally, I mean very intentionally had some wine tonight, thinking that I would still be able to do some writing afterwards. That did not happen, so June 23rd was a 0-word day. There's a storm moving in right now, and the mountains have almost completely disappeared. Today's June 24th. I'm now on my weekend from work. It is just starting to rain. I was gonna take a day trip today, but because it's raining, I'm gonna stay in my apartment. I'm gonna work on writing. I'm gonna work on finishing unpacking like the 7 or 8 boxes that are left that have just kind of been like lingering that I would really like to put away and get taken care of. And then I'm gonna set up my desk. And today is kind of just going to be a relaxed cleanup day. I'm gonna listen to some podcasts, maybe some music, just kind of chill and get organized. And then tomorrow when it's sunny, I'll go take a day trip. So in that last clip, I said that I was gonna finish unpacking. It has now been 4 hours since I filmed that clip, and I've only undone 1 box. Just updating you guys. At least the mountains are back though. It is now 10 o'clock or almost 10 o'clock. I just picked up dinner. I have not done any writing today so far, and I have not unpacked any more boxes yet, but I want to finish the podcast that I was listening to, and I want to start watching Loki because I have not yet started that TV show. However, because I didn't write yesterday, I need to at least write a little bit today. So the current dilemma that I'm running into is that 2,634 words or whatever it is that I need to write a day is already daunting, and I'm on like day 4. So far of the past 3 days, one of them was not enough, one of them was enough, and one of them was a 0-word day. So, man, I don't know. And I still want to completely unpack, and I still want to take a day trip tomorrow. And if I take a day trip tomorrow, then I'm going to be tired and probably not wanting to write. Man, I don't know. I think I'm going to force myself to sit here while I'm eating and do like 20 or 30 minutes of writing, and then depending on how I'm feeling, I might switch over to watching Loki, but using that as a reward to bribe myself to get writing done. I just wrote about 500 words, and now it's time for me to watch an episode of Loki and then see whether or not I can convince myself to write a little bit more after that. Alrighty, a couple writing sprints and 2 episodes of Loki later, I am now sitting at 1,436 words written into draft 4 for today, and I think that's where I'm going to stop because it is currently 1:08 a.m., but feeling very happy with that amount of writing done for the day, so not as happy with the number of boxes that I did not unpack, but again, there's always tomorrow. I will say that 2,634 words is kind of a lot to be trying to hit every single day, and it would be much more doable if it was like 1,000 or something. But then again, I am hopefully still ramping up into this, so as I continue through the end of June and into July, hopefully the amount of time that I spend on writing continues to go up. Hopefully things continue coming back to me. I was extremely happy with some of the stuff that I got to add to one of my chapters today. It really made the chapter go from absolutely nothing happening to vital information, which was a note that at least one of my beta readers mentioned. I started this afternoon out writing about 800 words, and now it's time to go for a little day adventure. I found a hike that I want to go do that will lead to a mountain lake, and so that's what I'm about to go do. This is part of my view on my drive up to my hike. It's June 25th and there's still snow. I had no idea I was at 9,500 feet right now. So I just walked up along this, and now I get to keep going up along this. Can't believe this place exists. I seriously wish I had brought a book to read or my computer to write or something, because it is so peaceful up here. I don't remember what those things are called, but they're like the amphibians that have legs and can come on land too. That turned out to be about 2.5 miles, and I gained about 500 feet in elevation and went up to 9,900 feet. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Mountain lakes are so cool. They're so cool. That was probably easily my second favorite hike I've ever done. Like easily, like hands down. I am now back from my walk. It is currently 8:08 p.m. I need to make myself some dinner. I think I'm gonna make vegan chow mein, which I'm very excited about. It will be my first time making that, but I get to use my wok, which I have not gotten to use in several years because none of my apartments that I've lived in have had gas burners. So life is exciting. And then after I make dinner, I will write some more, hopefully unpack a little bit more. My goal is to be completely unpacked by the time this video is over. And that's kind of why the video is taking so long, is because I'm still not fully unpacked. However, I did just quickly want to cover a question that I've been getting a lot about from you guys since moving, and that is why I moved. And I suppose that I have not sufficiently answered this yet because I keep getting the question, and so I'm gonna answer that now. I spent the first 19 years of my life in Minnesota. That's where I grew up. That's where I went to my first year of college. And then I transferred to a school in Dallas, Texas, where I went for my remaining 3.5 years because I graduated in 4.5 years. And so I graduated in December of 2019 from that school in Dallas. And then I was looking for a job. I was trying to figure out where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And then, you know, the thing started like 3 months later. And at that point, I was applying to jobs in both Dallas and the Dallas Metroplex area and Utah, because I grew up coming out to Utah to go skiing with my family, and primarily thinking about Utah because of the mountains. So I've spent a lot of time out here in Utah, primarily in the winters. I would always be so creative on the days that I didn't go skiing because I could just sit in the room and stare out the window at the mountains. And there was just something so creatively inspiring about being able to look out the window and just seeing mountains. Life is just a little bit slower in the mountains, much less like matters. It feels much less rushed. I just have always felt so creative. And so in early 2020, I was thinking about coming out to Utah, primarily because I was coming up on my 4th year of living in Dallas, and I was out of school, I was ready for a change, and I needed more nature because I was living in a high-rise on the 26th floor in downtown Dallas, which was gorgeous, but it took so much energy and thought to get outside of my apartment because we were so high up, didn't have a balcony, none of the windows opened, obviously. So you had to leave the apartment, get into an elevator, either take it all the way down to the bottom floor, walk through the lobby, and then get out, or to get to the parking garage, you had to leave the apartment, go down the elevator, get out on like the 3rd floor, cross over a bridge, and then get into another elevator, and then go to your car, and then drive out. And nature was just not easily accessible. Texas is so flat. I was in the middle of downtown, like it was flat, and there was like nothing other than city and buildings, which was gorgeous for parts of it until I wanted to be around nature, and then it wasn't. So my lease was going to be ending in May. You know, the thing started in March, and then I flew up to Minnesota to be with my family during that time because we didn't know what was going to happen. And I just felt so much stress and pressure as I knew that the days were ticking down to my lease ending in Dallas, but I had 2 roommates, and the 2 roommates were also going to be moving back home, but they both moved in Texas. So I needed to do something with my stuff because there was no way that I personally could afford to prolong a 3-bedroom apartment if I didn't have roommates. So like late April rolled around, I went back to Dallas. I packed up my entire apartment. I was trying to figure out where to move. I was realizing that moving across the country to Utah during a pandemic was not the best idea for meeting people. And so I did not move across the country, but I did move 45 minutes away from Dallas over to Fort Worth, which is a little bit hillier and greener. So at the very least, I was excited about being around a little bit more nature. And then I lived in that apartment for almost a full year. But by the time I moved out to my Fort Worth apartment, I was fully aware that that was a band-aid for what I actually wanted, because I didn't really want to be in Fort Worth. I wanted to be in the mountains and I wanted to be around nature. But that was the other hard part, is that my job was between Fort Worth and Dallas. And so I was commuting every day, like 23 minutes, I think was my drive, to a small building in Arlington, Texas, which was too small, too flat still. And there were a couple other reasons that I didn't really want to stay in that position long term. It just didn't feel like what I needed at that point in time. And so the mountains have been the goal, honestly, since I was little. And I just never knew when it was going to happen. So going back to my last lease, every day I was having to commute to work. I was getting a little bit more fed up with the flatness, and just Texas was not where I want to be long term. And I was very quickly realizing that because it's so flat. I'm like literally looking out the window. You can't see it, but the mountain is out there. Oh, there it is. Kind of. And then I finally started making some decisions in November of 2020 that I was getting ready and gearing up to leave that job. And then I was given an opportunity at another company. And then I believe it was in late November, I was literally going on a weekend trip to a tiny house because I needed to like get out into nature, and it was all of these feelings bubbling back up to the surface, and like I just had to go out to nature. And on my drive to the tiny house that I was going to stay at, I got the job offer for this position that I'm currently in, which was remote and a company that I had already worked with. However, it was in a different department. And then I got to put in my 2 weeks at the job that I was not very happy with or feeling fulfilled in. So after putting in my 2 weeks, my last day was December 18th of 2020. And then I basically got 2 weeks off for the holidays because my new job was not starting until very early January. But then I got to start in my new position, which is flight coordinator. I work for a private charter company, meaning that I do all of the flight planning for trips that are being chartered on private jets. But the best part about that job is that it is remote. So as soon as I got this job, and I literally mean as soon as I started this job, I immediately started looking at apartments, other cities in general, other countries, even a little bit, other states, trying to figure out where I wanted to be, to have nature, pretty decent weather, mountains ideally, and good vegan food, or at least being vegan friendly. And then I kind of narrowed it down to Denver and Salt Lake City because they were still big cities. They still had international airports. So when I wanted to travel, I could. That was huge. And my thing was that I love being in a big city, but I needed to be close to nature. So in late February, I took a couple days to go tour apartments in Denver. I think I toured like 14 apartments. None of them felt right. Like none of them were perfect. None of them felt like where I needed to be. As much as I liked Denver, it just wasn't quite it. But I was starting to feel pressure because I knew that my lease in Fort Worth ended on April 15th. So knowing that my lease was ending and that Denver wasn't it, I went to Salt Lake in March, really freaked out and trying to figure out if Salt Lake City was where I wanted to be or not. I came out to Salt Lake City on a ski trip with my family. My parents and I rented a car to go drive around Salt Lake City, but we decided to do that on a Sunday, so none of the apartments were actually open or giving tours, and so we just went and drove around a couple of the ones that I had seen online. So many of them were no's immediately, just because the windows weren't big enough, because I didn't like how the exterior looked, how I didn't like the feel of the area or something. And then we drove past my current apartment, which immediately was perfect. And it was under construction, so I couldn't have even come in and seen it. And it was pretty much a no-brainer. Like, there are so many things about this area that are absolutely incredible. I am about a block away from a park that way. I have another park that's behind me. It is a 5-minute drive until you hit the mountains. It is a 10 to 15-minute drive to get downtown to Salt Lake City. Like, literally, like, the perfect spot. There are like 3 or 4 vegan restaurants all within walking distance. Literally just everything with this apartment lined up and felt good and correct. And like, I honestly started crying as soon as I saw it because it felt so perfect. And I think I was telling my grandma about it, honestly, because she was asking me where I was moving to. And I went through the list and basically like described why this apartment is so good for me. And then she made a comment like, wow, did they ask you exactly what you wanted? And I was like, honestly, no, but they did it so much better than I even would have. So I know that that was a very long answer to the question on why I moved, but basically it has been a long time coming. I have been needing a change like this for a long time for many, many reasons. Primarily, I was not in the right state. Texas was too flat and I needed more nature. And the mountains just made sense. And so this is where I feel like I need to be right now. I have now been here for 25 days. Again, I moved out here on the 1st. My stuff did not come out and join me until the 16th. And so I was sleeping on an air mattress. My parents did ask me if I wanted to fly home so that I could sleep in a bed and like have food and be able to cook. And I was like, no, honestly, because I want to be here so intensely that I don't want to fly back to Minnesota. So I have now been out here for 25 days. Every time I go out and watch a sunset, every time I get to go hiking, it's so perfect for me right now. It is exactly what I need. So super, super long answer, but I really hope that that helped answer the question of why I moved, because I have been getting that a lot. And the super short answer that I've been giving people is the mountains, and people are like, what? And so that is a much longer winded explanation as to why I moved. So now that I have been talking for 21 minutes, I'm definitely gonna cut that down to go into the video, but now it's time to make some chow mein. I have now finished eating. I did not show my food because it was not as photogenic as it was supposed to be, but it tasted really good. And now I kind of want to make brownies. It is currently 10:44 p.m., but I think, as we know, as history shows, I'm not going to bed anytime soon, so I might as well make brownies. Because why not at this point? I also don't have to work tomorrow morning, so I don't have to go to bed. Brownies are out of the oven. They look gorgeous. It's definitely now 11:49, and I want to watch the next episode of Loki because there's currently 3 out. I've seen 2 of them. So if I watch the next one, then I'm all caught up. But I'm also only sitting at 800 words for the day, and I definitely need to be at more than that. But I also went for a hike today, and I was out of my house for like 4 or 5 hours. And I went up to altitude, and then I came back down. So my body is tired. Am I 100% trying to talk myself not out of writing, but watching Loki first? Yes. I also don't have ice cream. That was an oversight for sure. Yesterday, which is June 25th, I never ended up closing out. I only made it to 880 words, added to draft 4, which again was totally okay. It was my full day off of work, which is probably the day that I want to write the least, because it's the day that I want to prioritize adventures and getting out into Salt Lake City in Utah and just going and exploring. But that brought me up to 18,479 words. Today is June 26th. I did start working again this morning. So now it is 5:03 p.m. and I think my game plan to hopefully get a lot of writing done today and to finish unpacking at least 5 more of the boxes so that I'm then only down to my books and my office supplies is to switch off roughly every 20 minutes and do like writing for 20 minutes, cleaning for 20 minutes, and just trying to go back and forth and switching up enough so that I'm actually being productive, staying productive, getting a lot of things done, and also being able to like distract myself with listening to a podcast or music or watching a YouTube video while I'm unpacking. So that's the game plan. I'm going to start the first 20 minutes right now with writing. I've been working in intervals now of about 20 minutes for the last 3 hours and just passed 20,000 words in draft 4. It feels so good, but I also know that I want to write more today. Also, while I've been cleaning, I have been listening to the Financial Feminist podcast, which if you have not checked out yet and you are a woman, I highly, highly recommend it. The one that I recommend starting with the most is called Closing the Wealth and Investing Gap for Women, and that will be linked down in the description box below because I really recommend it and I really want you guys to listen to it if you're interested. We've got a gorgeous golden hour going on as I'm sitting out here working on editing a YouTube video during one of my various sprints. It is now 11 o'clock. I have done a lot of these sprints. The sprints have been getting a little bit longer, especially on the cleaning / unpacking side of things, but it is now 11 o'clock. I'm about to sit down, do another writing sprint, and then unpack a little bit more, probably eat a brownie, and then go to bed. Alrighty, so this is how my intervals today went. It definitely started out around 20 minutes and then kind of got like a lot longer in through here. Also, can we just focus on this in the background? Writing saved me from the sin and inconvenience of violence. I'm still counting today as June 26th, even though we're at 1:17 in the morning. But I ended up doing 5 writing sprints. 4 of them were 20 minutes, 1 of them was 15. And I got all the way up to 22,045 words, which means that today I did a total of 3,566 words for draft 4 of Project DE. I am very excited by that number. I'm feeling very good about that, especially in an hour and 35 minutes of writing sprints split up across my day. Today felt so incredibly productive, and even though I did not completely finish unpacking, I am significantly closer than I was. And the rest of the stuff that I need to unpack is very much just like trivial, like little things that I need to find places for. So I'm assuming that's gonna take me another couple days still, which is totally fine. I'm gonna try and work on like 1 box a day. That way it's like manageable, and if I do it faster than that, that's great. If not, that's great too. But that's the new goal. But I'm definitely feeling like I'm ramping back up into the creative mindset and getting into a little bit more of a flow after moving, which was the whole goal. And I'm starting to feel more settled in. I know that it is June 26th, and so I have been here for almost an entire month now, but I am definitely starting to feel more settled, which is absolutely incredible and completely what the goal is. And if I haven't mentioned it already, 2,634 words a day is a lot to be doing, even in draft 4, where I am just moving over some stuff and I'm completely adding new stuff. 2,634 words a day is a lot. It would feel a lot more manageable if I was doing like 1,000 words a day, but like I've covered, my goal when I started draft 4 was 2 months, and I started draft 4 on May 15th. And so if I can finish by the end of July, that will have been 2.5 months, which is still absolutely incredible. I want to get through this draft primarily because if I let it linger for too long, it's going to be extremely tedious to continue fixing. And I've been really enjoying fixing the portions that feel like writing and making them feel more like a story and more conversational and less like reading and writing and more like a story and more something that will like hopefully suck eventual readers into it. And I've also been working on improving a lot of areas that my beta readers have brought up. I have kept my handy dandy notebook here beside me, and I have been consulting the notes on the various chapters as I've been going. But so far I think I've been making some very good improvements to the things that they were bringing up in their beta reader feedback and adding a lot more detail to make the story more interesting, which is something that I thought I was doing a good job at until I sent it out to beta readers, and they pointed out to me where the story was missing description and detail and more like concrete detail, which is stuff that I, again, had not been able to put my finger on until I had other people read my work, which has been awesome. Like, I'm so glad that I decided to send the story out to beta readers when I did, because it needed help, I needed help, and they were definitely able to give me the feedback that I needed. I am now 6 days into my Camp Nano goal, aka because I started 10 days early, and across those 6 days I have done 10,072 words, which averages out to be 1,678 words, which is about 1,000 less a day than I would ideally be at, meaning that I would be about 6,000 words down from where I should be. But again, I am like easing back into this, and considering that I'm easing back into this, 10,000 words across the last 6 days has been incredibly productive. All that being said, I am very excited about the prospect that continuing into these last 4 days of June and then into Camp Nano July in the month of July and working on draft 4. I'm very excited by the potential that that brings. And so with that, I think I'm going to close the video out here. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was a very long video, but if you did enjoy it, please give it a big thumbs up because it really supports my channel by telling the YouTube algorithm that you liked my video and that someone else might too. If this is somehow your first video of mine that you are finding and you want to see more videos like it from me, make sure you scroll down below, hit that big red subscribe button and that little notification bell next to it so you get notified every time I upload a brand new video. I want to know if you guys have any tips on settling into a new routine. I'm probably going to make videos about trying to settle into a routine in the future, but if you have any tips for me in the meantime, I would really appreciate it. And also, if you want to let me know down in the comments below how camp prep is going for you, I would love to read about it. So all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Sara Lubratt, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!